Intro time for me. Let's go, everyone. Welcome, everyone, here to the Concession Stand Podcast, where we talk about things we like. And this week, that's movies. It's been that every week so far. Might do a TV show soon, though. So keep that in mind. But anyway, we're going to be talking about The Batman this week, directed by Matt Reeves. I'm Sean. I'm going to be your host, and I've got with me my two very good friends, Micah and Jared. Micah or Jared? Would you like to introduce yourselves, please? Please, fine folks.
Okay, he said your name first this week, so you gotta go first.
Sorry, I figured you would go because I was researching.
Yeah.
Hi everybody. My name is Micah, aka Baby Boy LaCroix, aka the Sardine Queen. I do a podcast that you're currently watching and or listening to. I like to eat strange food in front of people. So send me strange food or recommend me food to try.
That's probably safer.
And I will do it on camera for you. Need to make some more content. Because what is life but a content machine?
This goes back to the Instagram pictures.
I have some socials. Sean, put them somewhere. Go check them out. I just took some pictures while I was in Maine. If you want any on a poster or canvas, let me know. You can buy some. What's good, Jared? How are you doing?
I'm Jared, also known as Jer on Air on the internet. I am a sometimes variety streamer. And just all around human, just hanging out, living the dream. Excited to talk about movies and potentially TV shows with two of my friends here. My socials are down there. I'm Jer on Air across the metaverse, if you will, as I think that's a thing that we're all going to have to get used to saying here in the next few years, which could be slightly upsetting depending on how you look at it. But yeah, definitely follow me on the old socials if you want to keep up with me for some reason. I'm most active on Twitter and in the Discord. The Instagram is just there so that I can have the name, if I'm being honest with you, because what am I gonna put? I'll really do pictures. But I got it. So feel free to follow that too if you really want to. Maybe there'll be a picture up there one day. Who knows? You'll have to follow to find out. That's not a marketing ploy. That's just facts.
That's just Jared, baby.
Also, Sean, I feel like I found your intro to this movie and we do things backwards because I found maybe the best, and everyone else apparently agrees, I found the best Letterboxd review ever.
Okay.
For this movie.
Okay.
Can I read it?
By all means.
For anybody who's new here, I usually save this for the end, but this is too good, and this is how we're going to start it off because I think this gives you a good idea of the movie that we're about to review. Okay, this is from Nick Wybert. All right. I just love how fucking disgusting Bruce looks in this. Nasty ass, stringy ass, translucently pale goth boy in this dank, disgusting bat cave, hunched over his computer with bloodshot eyes and black eye paint, scrolling through footage of the previous night and journaling his fucked up thoughts. When he finally emerges from the cave to talk to Alfred and gets disturbed by the natural sunlight and has to put on sunglasses, I wanted to get up and cheer. Yeah, that's right. Put on those sunglasses, you little freak. Also, he's definitely a virgin based on how he composes himself around Catwoman. Fucking fantastic movie.
Oh my god.
And that's the Batman.
That is the Batman.
That's all you need to know, really.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in for our 45 minutes of bullshit and 2 minutes of Batman.
This is gonna be the shortest podcast episode. All right. So yes, I mean that does sum a lot of things up pretty well. But real quick, some background for the movie for those who want it. This is the Batman's directed by Matt Reeves. It was written by Matt Reeves and Peter Craig. This film stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis, and John Turturro, as we were talking about earlier. The IMDb synopsis for this film is: when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. So I'm going to just throw this out right now before we get started that we will be spoiling the absolute shit out of this movie. So there isn't going to be a sequence where we don't spoil the movie. So if you want to watch the Batman at some point without spoilers, then I suggest you turn this off, stop listening, however you're consuming this sweet content. Cut it out. Dude, you throwing out some Uncle Joey's right now?
Hell yeah. It's my unclely duty.
So before we dive in, I feel like we have to talk about our knowledge of Batman, just because it's a comic book character and things like that. So, and I guess it's hard to not talk about the previous Batman movies. And I'd say sticking with, I'm not saying we got to go all the way back to like Adam West and stuff, but like relatively current. So I guess Chris Nolan movies. Are you guys? I mean, I know Micah's read some comics, but I don't know to what extent. And Jared, you don't read comics at all, as far as I know. Really?
I'm not a comic guy, no.
Okay. And then so Micah, have you read any Batman stuff?
I have read like the Batman one that everyone says you need to read. I forget what it's called. Killing Joke, I think.
Killing, yeah.
I own a hardcover copy of that, and I've read that, and I think that's the only mainstream comic I've ever read. Really, besides that, whichever one, I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden. The one that you Saga. That's really the only comic I ever really got into truly.
Okay. Yeah, I've kind of read Batman. I've never read old Batman and whatnot. I've read more of like, so there's Scott Snyder did a run of Batman in 2012 that was, I think he's introduced a new kind of like villain set to the Court of Owls and stuff. I don't know if they're going to pop up in, I think they popped up in the TV show Gotham. And so they're kind of making their way into the, like, films and stuff like that. So it's just a newer villain, I guess, per se. But so his take on Batman is what I'm most familiar with. And so it's not like traditional Batman, I guess, and whatnot. So I've read some of, I think Frank Miller did a run of Batman too. And so I know the cover art's real popular, but I couldn't tell you anything about the
You
Batman.
said you did read Frank Miller's Batmans?
He did a newer, like, pretty recent.
Well, I was just gonna say, based on my research, the Frank Miller Batman is the only one that drinks.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The rest of them, he keeps up the appearance of being a drunk, but in Frank Miller's Batman, Bruce Wayne is like a 50-year-old alcoholic.
Okay.
Before becoming Batman or whatever.
So we were kind of on the right path.
Yeah.
Potential.
It's one, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to find it right now off the top of my head. It was a pretty recent run that, like, it was a big deal because it was like Frank Miller was doing this again or something. So, but that's like my extent of it. And so I was just curious with that. And then, did you guys enjoy the Chris Nolan Batman films? Like, for a gauge of? Okay.
I did, for sure. I like what trilogy?
Yeah, the whole thing. Okay. And then
I liked Heath Ledger. I liked Tom Hardy, Bane, Marion Cotillard as, oh man, who did she end up being?
Oh, Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Yeah, her daughter, Talia al Ghul. No, I loved them. I wasn't like full on, these are the best like movies I've ever seen. Like, I feel like a lot of people that we like went to college with were like, I know some of those Batman like changed some people's lives. I was like, I mean, they're good. Like, chill out. But I do love them. Like, I'd sit down and watch them right now. That's how much I enjoy them.
Okay. Mike, are you?
I think Dark Knight will forever have a solid place in my heart because it was just such a. As far as superhero movie, I had zero interest in superhero movies, period, until Dark Knight. And that like lit the whole flame under my butt because I was just like, holy shit, this is real. This is realism and dark and gritty, and none of it's like this fantastical bullshit. And it was all done well, and the action was interesting. And then it was like villains, and then more villains, and then I don't know. It all felt really well done, and even from a filmmaking standpoint, it's just such a amazingly done movie. Dark Knight was the first one I saw. Then I went back and watched Batman Begins, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then Dark Knight Returns, it was whatever. I thought it was okay. But Dark Knight itself was probably like a high benchmark for movies for me for quite a while.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, this would be a podcast all on its own as the Dark Knight. And we'd probably do the whole trilogy in some sense. But I mean, 'cause there's just so much, not even the movie itself, but like obviously because of Heath Ledger and all that stuff that went on because of him and whatnot. So like there was a lot of hype for me going into that too. So yeah, but no, I think overall I do enjoy the Chris Nolan trilogy. And actually, Skog, it's funny that you mentioned. So Skog said, I listened to a podcast the other day that tried to break down the plot of The Dark Knight, and it just falls to pieces. So I'm gonna kind of I will bring that up in some capacity as we talk about the Batman, because I do think that's an interesting. The plot of this movie is, I mean, we'll sit there and theorize while we get into it, but yeah, I think obviously the runtime for this movie is very long for a superhero. I think it's one of the Endgame might be the only thing that's longer than this. I think Endgame was over 3. It had to have been like just barely longer than
I think it was just under 3. I think it was just over 3, including the credits.
Okay. But so like it was kind of like
it is. It's 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Endgame.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this was just under that, I think. But yeah, it was kind of like a mental. It's funny because obviously, like, I love Lord of the Rings, and those are just known for being long movies. But there was something about popping this in and being like, man, I gotta like, I'd have to mentally be ready to buckle down. And I guess not buckle down, but I mean, I was excited to see this. But it was, and it was funny because I know Jared mentioned he's like, I watched this in like multiple sittings because we had the luxury of streaming this on HBO and stuff, and it's I guess to give you a gauge of how much I enjoyed this, the movie was over and I was like, oh shit, this movie is over for me. So this was one that went by. I mean, I was kind of feeling the length a bit towards the end, and there was a lot of parts in this, and we can dive into this a little bit more when we get going, where it was just like some scenes were just like sitting for like a few seconds where I was like, I don't really know why
it's dragging here.
Yeah, like we could cut.
Yeah.
There was a few moments, like it took me out for a second, and then I kind of like I get brought back in, but it was weird. It happened so many times, enough to where I started to note it, and it was like, I don't get what the hell's going on with these decisions.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird decisions like that.
I guess the one that comes up is the end where they're leaving the graveyard, and it's just like this in between shot of that. Like maybe you get one shot of them riding on the bikes away, but then they did that like I swear it was like 2 times, and then it was just like I don't know. It was examples of stuff like that where it's like, this to me as a viewer, I feel like this does not need to be in there, and I would still get the point. And so it was several times of things like that happening that was kind of strange, and I don't know. But my overall feeling with this movie was a positive one. I think maybe as we talk, we'll break that down, and that won't be the case, so we'll see. But
real quick,
yeah.
The Batman is 6 minutes shorter than Endgame. Endgame is the longest, unless you include the Snyder Cut Justice League, in which case the Snyder Cut Justice League is 61 minutes longer than Endgame.
Jesus Christ. Okay, now I guess I should have put that into perspective, because that is the most recent Batman, is Batfleck.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't really have strong feelings on Batman to begin with, really. So like casting, and honestly, since Heath Ledger, I remember he got cast, and it's like, to me, Heath Ledger was 10 Things I Hate About You. And like, that was Heath Ledger to me. And I was like, that's so fucking for the Joker.
Yeah, everybody was shitting on him before that movie came out.
It was I love, people still have the I mean, this was what, 2007 or 2008 when this, so this was like Yahoo forums and all that bullshit. But it was just people like saying, just what you said. And now it's like, obviously, we now know, like, he absolutely crushed it, so good. And so now I go into every role like this where I'm just like, I don't know. I'll give him a chance and I'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know what they can do.
I don't care who the fuck plays who. Like, I'll believe anybody could do it once I
Right.
see it.
Right. And so, especially with Batman, I don't even know who the hell I'd have to be. I don't even know if I'd get that upset with like Spider-Man and stuff. And like Spider-Man's like, that's who I love superhero wise. Like, I don't even know if I'd get that upset about like a Spider-Man casting at this point or something. But like, I don't know. It's just Batman's, I feel like, is always just going to be controversial in whoever they did. Because I don't really know if people were like jazzed about Christian Bale when he got cast. And so, but I guess I'm ranting a little bit. But so Ben Affleck as Batman, did you guys enjoy him as Batman?
I think I thought he visually, just because he has the chin and they did a good costume, like visually he was like a good choice for Batman. And even acting wise, I mean, like he was fine as putting on a Bruce Wayne Batman kind of vibe. I think my problem is just like, I don't think Zack Snyder's made a good superhero movie. So none of them he's come out with have wowed me in any way, really. So
Yeah, I think Ben Affleck physically is the best Batman that we've ever had. I think he has the profile and physique of what I've imagined Batman being off of, say, like growing up with the cartoons and stuff like that. Character choice wise, though, I think maybe Christian Bale has done the best job.
I would agree.
To like actually make it feel like Batman. Pattinson is interesting though, because like if you're trying to put like, say, like Killing Joke Batman on screen, then I think Pattinson actually has an argument for being the best one. But if you're talking about like your like classic, like Mark Hamill was the Joker, like cartoons that we all grew up on, I think it's Christian Bale does it the best.
Yeah, I thought Pattinson did a perfectly fine Batman. Like I could see it. It was a very like angsty 21-year-old Batman type of vibe. But
it was, that's another thing. It was a very young Batman, which I don't know if we've really seen, because I don't think I would call the Christian Bale Batman young.
No, he was totally like mid to late 30s.
I would even say like early 40s for that one.
Yeah.
And like Affleck Batman's definitely older.
Yeah. He's more like a Frank Miller version
he's over being Batman almost, it feels like. He's killing people, and like, he's lost his, I mean, Batman's big thing is not killing people. Like he does everything he can to, and so like that.
Also no disrespect to Clooney and Keaton. I have seen those Batmen. That just I think they existed in a different time of like filmmaking. I think I think even count them as the same.
Just superhero movies in general now too. It's just like those, now we've got our multiverses and we've got the cinematic universe. Like it's hard to not. Which DC is just a absolute. I cannot stress this enough, as a fucking mess. In terms of, because now, and not even just in what's going on behind the scenes, but like this movie's happening. This was also scheduled along with like Justice League and stuff. It's like, okay, well, is that Batman or is this Batman? It's confusing. There's no clear.
Yep. They're starting to do like ones that are standalone and ones that tie in and ones that include the tie-in characters but are happening standalone. And it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think there is an argument for that being good. I think they're just not doing it well. Like, I think also it would also be really interesting to know what these movies would be like in a world without the MCU, because the MCU is just its own beast. And like, I talked to a lot of people that love the MCU, and I talked to a lot of people that hate the MCU. But I feel like one thing that is like a common thread between those people is just the consistency the MCU has. Like when something of theirs comes out, if it doesn't fit now, it will probably fit later. And if it doesn't fit later, you know that it could fit later. Like it
Mhm.
just seems like they're all on the same page over at Marvel, whereas over at DC, they're kind of just like, let's see how many iterations we can get
Right.
out of these things. And that could be good, but I feel like right now it's mostly annoying.
It's yeah. I If you haven't, and this is kind of a sidetrack from this, there's a good behind the scenes video on the casting director for the MCU who I
Mm.
mean, like it's wild what this woman's done, because it's like she was a big part of why Downey got cast, and like MCU is Downey basically.
Mm.
But she explains how like Chris Pratt tried to be Captain America, or he not rehearsed. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Audition.
Audition.
Audition,
Yes, he
yeah.
auditioned to be Captain America, and they were like, like you don't fit. And then obviously he became, they like kept him on the back burner, and then he became Star Lord. But there's like multiple examples of people. Tom
Another
Hiddleston.
really interesting casting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because Glenn Howerton potentially was almost Star Lord.
No, I did not. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
dude.
That's what.
Can you imagine?
That's like Tom Hiddleston was auditioned to be Thor, and obviously he's Loki. Like there's no way I can picture him. So like it's like I think it's like 10, 15. I think it's on Disney Plus. But it was a really it's just something like I never thought of, and it's this woman who helped cast. Also gave light to what the casting, like I never really understood the casting directing process, and like they're essentially like the director tells them what they're looking for, and the casting director goes out and they find the people essentially.
Yeah.
Like to me, I always thought the director was there, and I'm sure there are instances where they are, but I'm guessing they're usually not at the auditions themselves, and the casting director's like, this is a good vibe, they're gonna like this person, and then they'll suggest and things like that. So it was just an interesting video in terms of the MCU and whatnot, and I'm sure it gives light to how a lot of these movies also go.
There's one woman, I can't remember her name right now, but there's one woman in Hollywood who has casted
Allison Jones.
Yes.
Dude, Allison
She
Jones.
has casted like every single major show that you could like possibly think of.
Mm-hmm.
Her resume is like unbelievable.
Like odds are, if it's a movie that you really love, there's a good chance Allison Jones is like it just
she did Lady Bird, which I don't know if we brought up when we did the pod for that, but like it's wild the stuff that she's done. And I remember finding out her name, like honestly now thinking about it, like it might have been like 10 years ago, where I just kept on, like I like noticed it. I forget what show I was watching, but I was just like, man, I see this woman's name in a lot of the shows that I watch. And then I like looked her up on IMDb, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like
she was
maybe it was Veep. I think it was Veep actually that I was watching.
She was,
and I saw her name, and I was like, man, she did a really good job with this show. I wonder what else she's done. And then I just kept on watching it. It's like everything. She's done everything.
Yeah. She I think she was a really big integral part to, I thought it was The Office.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I mean, she did Space Force, so it would make sense that she worked with
Greg Miller.
Yeah. Yep, it was The Office. 140 episodes she did. 148.
Yeah.
Like, also Arrested Development. I know another show that I love and quote all the time. Also The Good Place. She did 50 episodes of that. She did 51 episodes of Curb. Like, it's unreal. This is 40. The Way Back. Paul.
The Other Guys.
Eastbound and Down. Scott Pilgrim. Wait, The Other Guys. You know, one of my favorite movies ever done. Yes, like
there it is.
And just like, if you just had to think about movies and who's had the most impact on my life, like it would be Allison Jones.
She's
the GOAT.
Like literally, she's the person that you just don't even, like when the movies and stuff are all in there, they're getting promoted and all this stuff, like her role is not the one that gets brought up. But honestly, I've been listening to that one Office podcast about behind the scenes. Literally, they all talk about Allison Jones one way or all in like a different form or another and whatnot. And so she knows what she's doing. She's really good at what she does. So
This is not a spoiler, but the first time I ever saw her in person was she is in an episode of Barry as herself.
that's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which if you two have not ever started Barry,
Barry's
man.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I need to watch.
So good.
I need to watch. Oh, she was also. She had a role in. That was a newer season of Arrested Development. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sean, you got to get on Barry, man.
I know, I do.
Honestly, if you like Batman, I think Barry's a really good comp. I think they both set a similar dark tone. Though I will say, and I remember thinking about how I was going to talk about this pod, and I feel like my criticisms of the movie are going to come off as like really old man. But like the difference I think between the two is that Barry isn't actually like physically as dark. Like the Batman is a dark movie. Like I couldn't watch this movie during the day because if there was any like sunlight on my TV, I couldn't like see what was going on. So like I had to watch it at night so I could actually like take in the full scene. But it's just so dark.
I feel like that's been a problem. I remember that. I feel like I remember that with Nolan's movies too. I mean, I get it's just the premise of Batman operates in the dark.
It also makes sense because we are watching movies that they are making for a theater, which is typically extremely dark. So, if you're watching this in the theater, all of that stuff is there and a lot more like present and easy to see. But like when you're watching at home, it's just dark. And so for me, like my criticism of the movies was it's too long and it's too dark. And I feel like I'm just like an old man, like shouting out his window at his front yard.
Holding up your fist and
yeah, it's so long and it's so dark, and just make it shorter, make it brighter, and I'm there. But I'm the same way as you. Where like, even with the criticisms I have, I would still say overall it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm. I think the movie felt like it had the Riddler, and then it kind of jumped into Falcone, and it was like this weird, like it should have been a 2-movie thing because obviously the movie's long, but like. I legitimately forgot about the Riddler for a little bit because it was like Falcone became the focus of like, oh shit, like, we're starting to find out stuff about Bruce. And I know like Riddler's whole scheme was like kind of like Winter Soldier where he's placing all these things to like uncover these underlying, but Riddler didn't know Batman was Bruce, which I remember that scene where he was describing Bruce and you can see Bruce like like, oh my God, he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, and then I don't remember what he says something that's like, okay, he does not know Bruce Wayne is Batman, but it was a very tense like, oh shit kind of thing.
It was something like, but we missed Bruce,
something like that.
We missed getting him, or like Bruce slipped by us, or something like that.
Yeah, which I think that's like one of the few he does not. So this is one of my criticisms, I guess, is that Paul Dano really does not have a lot. He's he's not
barely in the movie.
He's really not in the movie. No, if I had to look and like I timed it, it would probably be like 20 to 30 minutes of screen time.
Criminal underusage of Paul Dano. Yeah, I agree.
It's I was whelmed at how little he was in this for sure. Because that's where I feel like it like focused more on Falcone to a degree, where it was like this whole arc of his story, which was fine. But I guess also John Turturro as cast as this role after seeing Severance was just a hard thing for me to bounce between. I guess I don't know if
they're two very, very different characters. Yeah,
it's I can't go down the Severance hole because I'm gonna start ranting about something.
I'm so used to John Turturro from like movies and stuff like that it was easy for me to switch, and it was easy for me to not like get stuck up on his Severance character, even though I'm pretty sure I watched the Batman like either a day before or a day after I finished Severance. So they were both really fresh in my mind. But like, I don't know, like even like, I think the main thing I think of him is Do the Right Thing. But then secondary to that is he was in The Night Of with Riz Ahmed.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right.
Another
he's a lawyer.
Yeah. Also a good and very dark show.
Yeah. I totally forgot he was the lawyer in that. Okay.
Yeah, man. It's really easy for me to switch back and forth, but for him and his roles. But like I agree in that the pacing of those two characters felt off. And I just wanted more Paul. I'm wondering if they're like setting us up to see him more, because again, we're talking about this without spoilers, but obviously when he goes to jail, he meets the Joker, and they get into things together as time goes on, just from our knowledge of like Batman. But yeah,
he was. Well, I like how they started it off where it's a very like I like immediately knew like someone's watching this family from these binoculars. I was like, man, it's got to be start off with Riddler right away, and it is the scene from the trailer with the tape and all that stuff. But yeah, I was really hoping to just get this unsettling, because I mean, also the last Riddler, I think live action one probably would have been Carrie. I think, and the Keaton one, or sorry, Val Kilmer. Which also we forgot to shout out Val Kilmer Batman. Honestly, that's who I think of with.
Was Nicholson the Joker or was he the Riddler?
He was the Joker.
He was the Joker. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say he was Riddler, or Carrie was the last Riddler from the Val Kilmer.
I think you're right.
If I have it correctly, is Carrie the one with the green suit and like bowler hat with the question marks on it?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's the last time we had a Riddler, huh?
I think so.
I do think so.
The only Riddler I know after that was like the Arkham games Riddler.
Yeah.
I think, man. Well, I guess jumping to Joker really quick. Did you guys watch the deleted scene that was released with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I did not.
There's like it's also on the HBO app if you wanted to watch it like full screen and stuff. But there's a 5-minute scene that got cut where, so like he's got that scene with the Riddler where they're in the cell, not the cell, the
Arkham Asylum.
So what is it called? It's not an interrogation room.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's like a visiting room.
Yeah. So there's the glass between them and they can talk and whatnot.
Yeah.
But he talks to the Joker that way, but like everything's blurry with the Joker. They only there's like sequences where like you can clearly see his eyes, and then he like moves up and then you can see his mouth, and like the Joker just looks like nasty, man. He's like a weird calm. He's calm for a Joker. Like it's kind of unsettling how like, I mean, he obviously does his laugh and he's got those like, those little mannerisms and tics, but like you think of the Joker as kind of a more over the top ecstatic kind of person.
Very much so. Yeah.
He was a very like he was just like shooting the shit with Batman. It was a really interesting take, and I'm excited to see more on what they go with this Joker. But
I mean, this movie is a reason why costume design should be a bigger deal at award shows. I mean, like I sent that one video in the Discord of just like Colin Farrell going through the transformation. And I remember when this movie first came out and I saw the characters, I had no clue that was him. And then watching them do the makeup to like transform him into the Penguin was unbelievable. And then you've got the Joker. I think I ended up really liking Dano's costume decision and how they made him how he is. I enjoyed it in the end.
Yeah.
Catwoman's was pretty good. Batman's was also, I think it was just like classic Batman.
Yeah.
It was
Nothing
very
really to write home about.
It was a very like the whole movie I felt like overall was, I mean, they kind of talked in that review where like it was like dirty. Like it was very like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of like putting shit together because he doesn't have it's a Mr. Fox. Who did Morgan Freeman play in the Nolan ones?
Yeah, Lucius Fox.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a person to like create this equipment for him and stuff like that. You know, like it's to me, I take it as like he's putting this shit together, and it's just like because he's doing the whole bat suit thing or whatever, and you could see like, it looks like he's like never done it before, and like you can kind of like see the panic. He like looks down, he's like, oh my fucking god, like he realizes.
Well, there was a line somewhere where he had dropped the knowledge that he'd only been Batman for like less than 2 years during the movie.
He says him and Gordon say that they had the signal for he's been helping Gordon for 2 years, or something like that, and so. It's like
I took that to mean it's been a very recent turn of events that he's tried to be Batman.
Yeah. No,
he's very new at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think it shows in just how things are done and it just feels grimy and dirty. It's not a I would say he walks into places confidently, but it's kind of a thing where it's like, man, I really hope this goes well or something. I don't know. I get this sense of he's just going in with gusto, and he just like he's kind of got this whole like, if I die, I don't care. I'm doing this for Gotham kind of mentality and whatnot. It was interesting that this one just kind of threw us in too. I mean, we had Batman Begins, which kind of had us some background with how he becomes Batman, things like that. Although I guess, like, honestly, man, it's funny how I keep thinking of the movies and I just don't think of the Zack Snyder Batman at all while we're talking about this. I keep thinking like, we got the Christian Bale one, but there is that one too. And I guess that one did kind of throw us in to just like, he's been Batman.
Just not good.
Well, I think also it like he didn't have a standalone story. It was Justice League and Batman versus Superman. It's a little easier to forget when it's just like he's just been a part of some other stories, really.
Yeah. We can't fully focus, and it's just, man, again.
The only good one of those movies is Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I love. I will defend Man of Steel every time it gets brought up. I think that was a really well done DC movie. But then after that, they all just like straight up aren't good.
I don't like Man of Steel. I thought it was lame.
Love Man of Steel. Oh my gosh, dude. You give me Michael Shannon in like anything and I know he's going to knock it out of the park.
I mean, I do like Michael Shannon. I mean, I feel like I was kind of indifferent with Man of Steel. I mean, I need to watch it. Honestly, it's been so long. I couldn't even tell you at this point. But
I love it.
I think, it's
also the first time the DC went dark.
It did go, they go pretty dark.
Well, that's not true. Dark Knight came out before.
Are you talking about like the DC universe stuff? Well, I guess was Man of Steel technically the first of the DCU? Is that what you're talking about?
I think it was. I mean, sorry for the spoiler here, but he kills somebody. Like, that's what I mean by dark.
All right.
Batman didn't kill anybody.
I guess he didn't, but he did a lot of dark shit.
Batman always like kind of toes the line. Batman never really truly goes dark. At least in like the, I guess, mainstream DC. But I mean, Superman melted a dude's face off.
Yeah, that's true.
Dark as shit.
I would say that is pretty dark.
Yeah, I loved it. Metal.
I think, and I'm glad that it did. I remember it getting addressed. This is going off topic of the Batman, but them absolutely destroying the absolute fuck out of Metropolis. I was like, there isn't going to be a fucking city after this. Like, what are they going to do? And then they did address it in the next one. I was like, okay, like there's just no fucking way they don't address this.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah, it's God. I don't even remember why I was talking about about Batfleck or anything like that. I guess it's just
we brought up how we always forget about him.
I really do. I don't remember what my thought was before that though. Getting too distracted with the.
So, I guess I'll take this time to cut in because I feel like you guys have been more on the same page as each other. I really didn't like this movie.
No,
I didn't hate it by any means, but I felt like with the cast that they had, it could have been a lot cooler and a lot better. And I felt like, kind of like what you said, Sean, just like Paul Dano didn't get enough screen time. Really, none of the characters got enough screen time except Batman. Like I felt like, I mean, even like the Penguin was barely a factor in the whole movie. He had the car chase. He had like the 2 scenes where he was seen talking inside the underground club or whatever. And that was basically it. And then same, like, Paul Dano had like the checking in with his followers videos. And then he had like the little clips here and there. And like, that was it. And even...
You also had a pretty long scene, like, in the jail with Batman.
Yeah. But, I don't know. You could have used all those guys so much better, I felt like. For a 3-hour movie, for them to all collectively have as much time as they did, felt like...
Do you think Catwoman got enough time?
It was more time than the rest of them, but also my least compelling and favorite character of the movie was just like I didn't care what was happening with her story, and I didn't buy the fact that she was like, "Oh, I care about this girl so much, but I'm gonna kiss you, Batman, on the second time we meet, and we're gonna kiss each other." And I don't know, that was weird, and I didn't like that. And what else? I thought the action was incredibly boring. I did not feel like I was not excited during any of the action sequence. I would say the most exciting action sequence was the final action sequence with the 27 Riddlers on top of the what all that shit. And I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. Like, ooh, the city's flooded. This reminds me of the Dark Knight Rises when everybody was stuck inside the courthouse or whatever that was.
You didn't like the subway fight?
Not really. I liked that the Batcave was in an abandoned subway station-ish, whatever that was. I thought that was kind of cool. Made sense, as opposed to the Dark Knight where he just like found a dark cave underground, and I don't know.
Well,
it has its moments.
The cave was behind his house.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And he fell into it when he was a kid.
That's true. See, like that makes sense. There's some origin there. But yeah, so that bothered me. Another thing, I have a lot of another thing that bothered me was the seemingly I don't know, again, I don't know how old he's supposed to be in this movie, but he's a fucking genius apparently. Like they'd be like, "What riddle is this that I do this?" And he just stares off in the distance, and immediately he's talking about a tax man, or it's just like he knew the answer to every riddle the second the riddle finished.
He's the world's greatest detective.
He is supposed to be one of the world's best detectives. So,
if he's only 2 years into being this like new Batman, like, and if he's so new at everything else, how? I don't know.
He's had experiences outside just being Batman though. So him like knowing some riddles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I'm gonna throw in the I'm gonna suspend my disbelief here and just accept that he's just real good at riddles and things. He is supposed to be smart. Like it's not just like Batman's a fucking idiot and just like he just gets lucky with his grapple hooks and ends up getting.
He's supposed to be smart, but there's a guy who has a bomb strapped to his neck and the timer is ticking down and it hits 0 and he's just going, my exposed chin isn't anything to worry about when this massive fire explosion is going to happen in front of me. Like, you're not worried about any level of degree burns on your chin. Your mask doesn't cover your chin, bro.
He's also he's a pretty careless Batman, I would say, in that sense too.
He's an absolutely careless Batman. And then there was the scene where he's in the hallway and they're doing all those like epileptic lighting shots and it's like flashing and all the people are shooting guns in an enclosed area with ricocheting metal bullets going everywhere. Open chin, doesn't care about anything. Like,
I mean, if he loses his chin, he can keep fighting. He'll be fine. It's gonna hurt, but he'll keep going.
He can't eat food. He'd die like 3 weeks later from malnutrition and probably blood loss like from a day after. I don't know.
A character. Man, I think you don't like Batman. Just
period. I do. I know. I mean, I do like Batman. It's just I don't. If he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, show me how he became that, or allude to it. Or I do like. I feel like you could write in the Dark Knight. The reason why everything works there is, so in Batman Begins, he's like honing his skills and why he's so good at fighting, and he went off to a fucking mountain and trained with ninjas, and then in the other movie it's like he has all this tech because Wayne Enterprises has been building it for him in secret and all this money, and so like it's all built into the story of it all, whereas this was just kind of like, we're just gonna, he's Batman, he's just don't think about it.
And Arpat used a lot of tech in this movie too. Like he had a bunch of all those computers and stuff down there. That was all high tech.
Yeah, but exactly. Where did it all come from? Like, what did he just like invent his own videographic contact lens that he wears every day? Like, I don't know. I would have liked to hear a little bit more about how that all worked. And
I mean,
you
got Lucius Fox in the other one, so they did introduce that, which is how
Right.
Batman got the technology in those movies. I mean, you could argue that in the 3 hours this movie took, they could have introduced us to whoever the Lucius Fox is. Yes, I think.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is like I feel like the movie was 3 hours and they did such little explanation of anything with that time. It felt like all of the time was devoted to. I guess I can't even point to anything. Like, I don't know what took place for I don't know what was 3 hours in that movie besides like a couple of action sequences and a couple of conversations. And I don't know.
It was 3 hours of developing the character of Batman.
I guess.
I think the movie just drops us in and we have to build, we have to get the context through what's going on and things like that, which I'm with you on some of the stuff where it's like I want to know more of like why, how, the whys and the hows, and like it's just like they just throw you in and it's just like he just has this shit and I'm just like I don't know how, like that kind of stuff. And I'm with you, but I also do kind of like that it's just kind of like go with it and see if there's things that come up, but I can see the frustrating part of that end too. I think one thing too underutilized, we were talking about characters, was fucking Alfred. He just, I literally forgot about him. He
literally had 2 scenes.
Yeah, he just, when the movie ended and I saw his name pop up, I was like, oh my God, fucking Alfred. Completely forgot about Alfred at the end.
Yeah, there was the one scene when, I think he had like 3 scenes overall, but it was like the one scene when you first meet him.
But they were
the scene where you first meet him, and then the scene where he's like, your father was a good man, and I spent every day trying to...
Right.
So I actually have a theory on Alfred and why he seems to be so forgettable. And maybe I should go back and rewatch to see if this is actually true. But I think the difference between this Batman and like a lot of the Batmen of the past is like, say, like Christian Bale, he called him Alfred a lot. Like he would end sentences with his name often. Whereas this one, he just kind of talked to him as a person without like using his name all the time. So you kind of forget that he's talking to Alfred. And also like this Andy Serkis plays a much more, I think, I don't know if this is the right word, but he seems to play a much more like independent Alfred, where he kind of just like pops in every now and then, shows that he like cares about Arpat, but is kind of just like there to help him a little bit, but he still can like leave whenever he wants. Whereas the past Alfreds, like their whole goal is basically in full on devotion to Batman. And so I think those two things combined make it really easy to forget that Andy Serkis is Alfred.
In past ones, he was like the butler, like he was the guy who's been taking care of him for years.
Yeah,
whereas
in this one, Nolan ones, like Christopher, what's his name? I'm blanking. Michael Caine. Michael Caine was like full on. I like whatever you need, I'm here. Also, the things that I think you need, but you don't know you need, I'm here. Like it was very much like they're much more doting Alfreds. Whereas Andy was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I work here. I worked for your dad. You're pretty cool too.
Yeah, that one definitely seemed like he had a close relationship with Mr. Wayne, and then now he just kind of like keeps an eye on the estate and kind of deals with some of the business end of things, since Bruce won't do any of it. And like that's kind of his role now, which is like fine as a role, but it also just like I would love to have it seemed like the movie was definitely like this like noir detective story of Batman going to scenes of crimes and solving the riddles and seeing the riddles have the repercussions, and the story was about the crimes happening and the progression of this crime to this crime to this crime, as opposed to character studies or world building or
it kind of mushes it all at once, and you're just supposed to pick up the beat. We're solving our own riddle, and it's the movie of what is these things.
Which is my least favorite way to.
You don't like solving riddles that way?
Yeah, I would much rather have somebody set up the movie than me to create the story off camera and be like, this must be what that meant.
I guess I don't place that much burden on this one because it's the first one. So you kind of have to give it a little bit of leeway into what kind of story it wants to make. It is also like, as far as superheroes go, one of the most recognizable names. So, like, I think it's fair for Matt Reeves to say, you all should already know a little bit about what we're doing here, so I don't have to waste time in explaining it. And as far as like the world building goes, I think the way he covers his tracks in not setting up the world building is that by the end of the movie, the world that the movie was made in is fucking destroyed. Like that Gotham that we had everything happen in is gone. It's fully flooded, has to be completely new. And it does a really, really good job of setting up whatever the next movie he makes, because it's just like, yeah, this area, like we can't even call it a city anymore. This just like place is up for grabs, and there's going to be plenty of people who are going to vie for it. So I think that's a little bit of a defense for kind of what we see here with the world building. I mean, it's Batman. I don't really need too much of an origin story unless it's going to vary drastically. Like if it's like an alternate universe Batman, then yeah, sure, build that story up. But like this,
I don't need an origin story either, but just like if they want me to care about Catwoman, like in my head, it's like, okay, well then give me reasons to care about her and their relationship and why, like, you know, build their relationship more, or like build on other characters more if you want me to care about somebody being really, like, I think that's why it was so, when you have Heath Ledger getting like caught as the Joker, you're like watching him progressively do all this heinous, terrible shit. He's blowing up the hospital and he's clearly psychotic, and it's building and it's building. And I felt like with this, it like you care about the Riddler getting caught because he's just bludgeoning people to death. But I don't know. I feel so like, I guess the more I'm talking about this out loud, I can see room and I can see a world where like a sequel to this builds on the idea that like Batman's actually a psychopath and he's like, he just hasn't processed his own shit, and he's just kind of like accidentally making Gotham worse while trying to make it better. And
I mean, that world already exists. Like, I mean, I feel like that's most of the people who I talk to's idea of Batman. Like, there's a lot of criticism about Batman just like not truly solving any of the major problems of Gotham while still just like beating the shit out of like petty criminals who are literally just trying to do stuff to like survive. There's plenty of that criticism that exists.
And I feel like I could see a world in which a sequel to this movie would build on that in a really good way. But I felt like this particular movie, for me, didn't do a good job of just like making me invested in anything. Also in part because I felt like a lot of the dialogue was really bad. I know a lot of people would probably think I enjoy it because of the pun, but the fucking thumb drive joke just killed me.
Oh,
like I was just like, oh my, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah,
I think it was just them showcasing how much of a fucking dick the Riddler can be.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't know.
I mean, that also seems like a joke that the Joker would make too.
Yeah, probably.
That does feel in line with the Joker. Yeah.
But
so go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like there's also just not a lot of mainstream representation of the Riddler. He's not as popular as
it was Jim Carrey.
People think he is,
and then the Arkham games. So
yeah. And he doesn't have that much of space, I feel like, in the animated cartoons compared to other characters.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're making Riddler like the main villain in this movie, which it feels like they started to, and then kind of like what Sean said, they like pivoted to be like, well, it's going to be a 50% Riddler, 50% Falcone or whatever. And then, I don't know, it felt like they could have built the Riddler into a much more of this like weird, brooding psychopath who is like, they like started to build it really well, and they started to, and I was like getting really into it. I was like, you know, I really like Paul Dano as Riddler, but like again, they didn't give him enough time, or they didn't give the character enough time to grow and to really truly shine as like a psychopath who's really good at riddles.
I think they did a great job of making him shine as a psychopath. I think they should have had more time with him on screen, but like I think he looked psychotic enough. Like just between the scenes of him literally bludgeoning people to death, putting a bomb on someone, or him devising this giant plan to flood an entire city with copycats that look like him. I was pretty convinced that dude's a fucking psychopath.
I think it was just wanting to see him. We had like the phone calls, and it was like Jesus Christ. He's screaming, and it's like, God damn,
the
like,
YouTube videos or whatever.
Yeah, like that stuff. Like I wanted.
Those are very funny, by the way. I laughed so hard at those. Hey guys, just want to say thanks for supporting the channel.
Oh my God, yeah. Make sure to thumbs up the video. And
yeah. So I think another comparison to the Dark Knight or to the Nolan Batman, but like there were plenty of scenes where we got to see the Joker doing his own thing completely outside of the lens of Batman, whereas the lens of the Riddler in this movie was entirely through the lens of Batman. You only ever, other than literally the opening shot where you're looking through the Riddler's binoculars, but for the rest of the movie, it's like you're watching the Riddler do things. You're like seeing him commit a crime, and then it immediately cuts to the investigation of said crime. But like rather than I'm immediately thinking of where like Heath Ledger bursts into the room where they're all having the meeting, and he like does the pencil thing with the dude's forehead, or like the scene where he snaps the pool cue in half, and he like there was a lot of those moments where he's off doing his complete own thing outside of Batman. And that helped build him as the character, and it helped build his motives and his quirks and his eccentricities to the murderous degree. Whereas with Riddler, it felt very much to me like it was all done through the lens of Batman investigating his psychopathic tendencies. And I think it would have been cooler if they had explored him a little more on camera as part of the story where you got to see it. Or at least that's what I wanted more of.
Yeah,
I don't think Nolan did any kind of background for that Joker. We know nothing about where he came from.
I don't think he's saying background. It's just
it's
just Joker. Like do we like he says like
just Joker alone, like standalone.
Yeah, you're seeing scenes of him. You're able to see him acting on his own, doing his own thing over here, as opposed to a fight with Batman or a video he recorded for Batman.
I get what you're saying.
Does the Riddler, at least in the comic book lore, really exists outside of Batman? Isn't like Batman his obsession?
I think it is, but like it would have been nice to, in my head, to see some scenes where he's like setting up some eccentric plot of something, or he's doing more murderous things, as opposed to only checking in on him right when he's about to murder one of these high profile people. And then the other scenes being where he's a recording of himself for somebody else.
I get what you're saying.
I can see why they did that, but I would have liked to see more of him as the character himself doing his own things outside of the view of Batman.
I guess I just got enough of it.
I think it's just me selfishly wanting Dano on screen more, and like
that's probably part of it. Yeah. I love Paul Dano, so I'm sure that's part of it too. It's just like missing out on seeing more of him.
Yeah, I would agree that there should have been more Dano. I feel like as far as like the motivations behind why the Riddler did what the Riddler did, or why we saw the Riddler in the way that we saw him, makes sense.
Yeah,
just from what I know of the Riddler, but I also didn't read the comics, so I have no idea. I thought that whole thing was like the Riddler's thing, is he's just like, Batman's supposed to be smart, and I like to make riddles, so let's see if Batman can figure my shit out.
Yeah,
and that's why I exist.
No, I agree. I think the movie gives you enough context with that sense. So two things. I had a third thing, and I don't remember now, but I'm gonna say my first thing was there was a one-off line that Alfred says where he's like, "I wish I didn't teach you how to fight," or something like that, and it was making me think like, so is Alfred the one that like taught Batman? Like, since we don't have context of how he trained or anything, like, so it's like, so Alfred taught him how to fight, which is interesting if that's what it ends up being. But I thought that was an interesting kind of like one line.
I think Alfred was like in the war, or whatever the war was, or he was like he enlisted in services, and I think that's been shown in multiple that's in Nolan's Batman. I think that's in the comics. Like he has his own like there in the Nolan ones. There's that scene where Alfred's like, when we were going through the forest and this guy was leaving burnt gems behind and then burning the village. So it's like it sounds like Alfred has his own full history of like, he's more than just your British butler guy. He's got his own deeper, darker past. And that would make sense here too with Andy Serkis.
I think it's just something that they never really, they talk about in that sense. They talk about it, but it's like, it seems explicitly said like he taught him how to fight. Like you see how Batman fights, where he's fucking punching. He's full on fighting people with like knives and guns and things. So it makes sense. But I thought it was interesting where it's always been, my understanding is an outside person training Batman. So like Nolan's was Ra's al Ghul training him and like that intense training, to be the fighter he was and things like that. And then I don't remember what my second thing was, but then this made me think of it while we were talking about it. That opening scene with the binoculars. I remember I think it's when Batman ends up following, oh my God, Catwoman. I'm trying to think of her character's name. I can't remember off the top of my head. Selena
Kyle.
Yeah, Selena Kyle.
Following her to her apartment, and then she's in her apartment, and Batman's got the goggles. And I was like, my first thought was, oh shit, the fucking Riddler's there. Like he something connected to Falcone. And I'm trying to think now if that was some type of, because we're talking about Riddler and his obsession with Batman kind of thing. Is it like, okay, are these two kind of like, maybe there is some type of like foreshadowing with that kind of thing? But it made me think of that sequence.
If anything, I think if there is a foreshadowing bit there, it's that Batman is a lot more like the Riddler in this universe than Batman would like to believe. Like he's not okay, and his actions are directly leading to bad shit happening. And
I know that
also that scene when that scene first happened, Kara's first comment was just like, "What up, Batman, you little perv?" Because like he's just like sitting there watching, and she's just like undressing.
Yeah. I know that's been a common thing. Like I know that gets brought up with Joker a lot, where him and the Joker have a lot in common, like more in common than he wants to admit, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that gets. I think it does. I think in the Arkham games it gets brought up, and
it does.
Arkham games are so good. Those are such good.
They are very good. They're dark as shit too.
They are very dark. Yeah, it's like how I want to see Batman stuff represented in film and games and things. But yeah, I think it was just an interesting. I didn't think of it during the time. But I mean, I do remember thinking like, oh shit, is this Riddler? But I didn't put together in the sense of like them having more in common than we think or anticipate. But in terms of the action, it's interesting that you don't like the action, Micah, because that was one of my bigger gripes going back through Batman Begins now, is how much I don't like how they shoot the action. They do a lot of, so there's a video, every frame of painting. I don't know if most people in some capacity here may have seen it, but it's this person who does a video essay. So he does a video on Jackie Chan and how he does action. Well, it's action comedy, but I think it applies to just action in general. But one of the things that makes Jackie Chan so good is that it's just a panning shot. It's just the camera moves with him. There's no cuts. It's just you see everything unfold, and the choreography is like spot on. Like they practice. And honest, if you haven't seen the raid, that choreography team is insane. They are so good. You really feel like, because you've seen movies where like you can clearly see the punch, like it clearly misses, or like it's just these little things where it's like, ugh, like God. But those movies are crazy with that. And so I think what I appreciated in this film was less of what Batman Begins did, and I can't really think of how stuff was shot in later films. I'd have to rewatch them. Damn, but I'll have to keep an eye on this. But it was essentially just leaving these shots kind of open to just like watching him, just fucking punch the shit. Like the club scene. The club scene on those stairs was just like, and I like felt those punches and him throwing the fucking bat. Oh man, it was satisfying to me to watch that, because I was waiting for like all these moments where like I remember it's the scene in Batman Begins. I think it's like one of the first times we've seen this Batman where it's like they're at the shipping yard or something like that, and he drops down and he's supposed to be fighting like 8 guys, and it's just like it's just his cape like coming up in front of the camera, and it's like right here on the shoulder, and it's just like kind of like he's beating the shit out of these guys, but it's just like I don't really know. I just know he's kicking the shit out of them. So like for me in this particular film, I enjoyed how, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but it was way better to see the full like him just coming in. Especially I remember the scene from the trailer. It's the very beginning of the movie where that one guy is walking at him. He just decks him, and he's just like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing with his arm, but he's just doing all that. So I think to me, I personally was I can see to a sense where like, they can get a little, they're not like these grand scale battles and things or, sequences and such, but like
so that's what I was just about to say is I think that as you were talking, that's the distinction that I'm drawing is I don't like action movies in general, but that's really more so action where it's like the action is people fist fighting and punching and literal hand-to-hand combat. I find that really unappealing and kind of boring. Whereas it's like the stuff that I really enjoy are the more grand, bigger scale type of stuff where it's like, the whole entire semi truck flipping over in The Dark Knight or in The Dark Knight Rises when they rip the wings off the plane and start dragging it behind them. And just like these like epic like things that aren't exactly fighting, but are like actionable.
Okay.
So like you like Fast and Furious movies?
I was going to say.
I've only seen Fast and the Furious 2 about 10, 15 years ago.
I thought you were going to say 10, 15 times. I'm like, why the fuck are you watching that one?
No. I've only seen Too Fast, Too Furious.
If you don't pay any attention to the story or any attention to logic,
already can't do that.
Then there you go. Because I was going to say, with the stuff that you like from what you're describing, there literally isn't any better movie than the Fast and Furious movies. They do that the best.
That's what I would prefer a movie that is exclusively character driven and has no action. So I need the logic. I need the good story, the good writing to be there. So that's why it's like for The Dark Knight or for the Nolan trilogy, it's like you have the characters, you have the good writing, you have the good dialogue and the this, that, or the other, but then the action sequences stacked on top of them were also entertaining and lively and like grand, big, this, that, or the other. Whereas here it was just like, I already didn't care so much about any of the characters or the dialogue, and then the fighting just and that just like isn't up my alley. I don't know.
I kind of found the fighting in Dark Knight to be kind of boring.
Well, and I guess it's just I'm looking for something different out of it. And I think it's the same reason why I don't mind action sequences in the MCU for the most part, because all of those guys are doing shit that's way different than most of the time. It's not just fist fighting. It's like Tony Stark blowing shit up, and there's shield flinging at something, or it's Thanos just like, I don't know, it's crazy. Yeah, there's like a bunch of random shit going on, whereas like I guess Batman explicitly is like I'm gonna punch the shit out of you type of character.
Yeah, he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just rich.
But which is why Christopher Nolan's one was tight, because it's just like there's a helicopter flying through Chicago, and there's a semi truck flipping over, and they're on these cruise ships that might explode massively, and there's I don't know. I guess that's what it is I don't like action, but I like the idea that there's these big actiony things happening.
This does make more sense now. This is like finding out Ryan's taste in movies and things to suggest to him. This makes a lot of sense now.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So now
this was already just was a movie that was kind of doomed from the beginning for you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think watching the every frame of painting video, what gave me appreciation for how just choreography that goes into this stuff is just insane, especially when it's done well. And watching the Raid movie, Raid 1 and 2, they're just on a whole other level in how they do this stuff. And it's quick, and how they move through the environment is just like, it just blows my mind. It's just so well
I've heard
done,
really good things about those movies. I've never seen them though.
I couldn't recommend them enough. If you just a good action, it literally the first movie's like a video game where they're just they got to get to these drug lords and they're just making their way up this building, going through the levels and whatnot. And it's just the action's just insane. I love it. So,
Micah, have you seen Sicario?
Yes.
I love Sicario.
Do you like Sicario?
Yes, I thought the characters and the story were very well crafted.
There it is. Okay. All right. I'm
gauge?
narrowed into the kind of movie you're into. Yeah.
Your gauge, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say Sicario is like
peak
in my top 10 or it's like, but I liked it.
No.
It was a really good, enjoyable watch.
It's not sad and depressing enough to fit your top 10.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody killed themselves or wanted to kill themselves, so immediately not interested.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
noted.
Yeah. And every pod I get more and more dialed into what you're into.
The car sequence.
I was telling that to Kara. I was like, you've made like 2 or 3 comments now. I'll say something and you're just like, every week I learn about you so much more.
Yeah, it's like the thing that you want the most out of this movie is all that Fast and Furious is, but then because it doesn't give you that one thing with the dialogue and the characters, you're fully out.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say I'd call that the one thing. Character and dialogue are really important.
Not an action movie.
To the movies that I would choose to watch, 100%.
Yes,
I would,
exactly.
like,
that's why I said the one thing. For you, that's important. But for an
Yes,
action movie,
which is why I don't watch action movies. That often.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Boom. Asking for character and plot development in an action movie is asking for water in a desert.
But I think when an action movie puts really good characters and story and plot and all that into it, that becomes like it ends up being a fantastic like genre breaking defining type of movie when it comes out.
What action movie can you think of that does that?
I would need like a week to think on it and collect data. I can't think of any at the moment.
No, because that's not what an action movie is. There's like dramas that have action in them, which is why the dialogue and stuff is good.
I guess I just like I find that The Dark Knight was done really well, and people.
I would argue The Dark Knight is not an action movie. No,
you don't think it's an action movie?
Absolutely not. No, Dark Knight's a drama.
So it's a drama with some fighting. Is that what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
What would you say is the best action movie that exists?
So you keep bringing up The Dark Knight too, which that was the second one. So like, could you make this comparison with Batman Begins? I think it'd be fair for you to compare the Batman with Batman Begins, since this is technically the first one.
Right. So I mean, I liked the Batman Begins, and I thought it was a good movie. But the things that I liked about it, the cinematography, and I liked the concept of I forget the bad guy's name, Cillian Murphy's character,
Scarecrow.
Oh,
Scarecrow. I liked the concept of him being like this lawyer who would, use his fucking chemicals to fuck with his clients, and there was a lot to that character that I liked, and to the way that he fit into that exact nook and cranny of the story. As far as action goes, I don't know. I don't remember if it was particularly actiony or not actiony, but
I think they had the train sequence at the end of that one was pretty cool in terms of what stuff that you were enjoying, things like that. But
would you consider Inception to be an action movie?
I would. I'm sure some people wouldn't.
I think Jared does.
No fucking way is Inception an action movie. It is a
if there are scenes,
I'd say, with action in it.
If a movie has a scene where at least a minute of the movie is people silently, non-vocally fighting each other physically, I would say that's it might be a comedy action or a drama action, but like if there is a choreographed fight scene multiple times in a movie, that's an action movie, is it not?
If 3 minutes of a 90-minute movie is action, you call that an action movie?
I mean, more than 3 minutes. There's way more than 3 minutes of action in Inception. Or okay.
Okay.
So what about what would you call a movie where this is where it starts to get into like too much nuance of stuff. Like
I don't think it's very nuanced at all.
Where does the action point cut off then? Is an action movie only if people are fighting person to person, or like it doesn't include if they were each in tanks? Is that an action movie? Or if one of them has a Tony Stark Iron Man suit, is it no longer action because he's shooting lasers? Like I don't where's the line for action? 5 minutes of
jokes in a 90-minute movie. Is it a comedy?
It might be a dark comedy. I would say Skeleton Twins, fantastic comedy. It's also a dark comedy. It's also really depressing.
I would call that a dramedy. Yes.
Yes, then that's what I'm saying. So like the majority of good action movies I'm thinking of would not just be only labeled as action. It would be like an action dramedy, action comedy, action like The Other Guys. That's kind of an action movie. It's an action comedy. They specifically draw ties at the start of it. You have the two badasses who are like, we're bad, and then they fucking jump off a building and die. Like
they do it as a joke. They do it to make fun of those kinds of movies.
Action comedy.
I wouldn't necessarily call that an action movie if it's a spoof of it.
I would.
I wouldn't. I think that's probably the closest you've gotten to your argument, sure. But like, I would not call The Other Guys an action movie.
So again, back to the question: what would you say is like either the best action movie or your
Fast and
favorite?
Furious. Fast and Furious is the greatest action movies ever made, without a doubt.
Even though all they're doing is violently driving cars.
Brother, you haven't seen the Fast and Furious movies.
I haven't. I said that earlier. I don't know.
Let me tell you something. The Rock isn't behind the wheel of the car a lot of the time. All right, that dude is usually.
Are they fist fighting? Are they like?
The Rock beats the shit out of people. Jason Statham, when he gets in there, beats the shit out of people. There's fighting. There's
cars.
Driving. The
first ones were
about driving. The first ones were about driving. Oh, baby, they haven't cared about racing for like 10 years. It's about heists. It's about grit. It's about guns. It's about stealing shit.
I really like heist movies.
I'm telling you, the Fast and Furious movies would be a waste of time for you. Do not touch those movies.
I thought, what is the Nick Cage movie?
Gone in 60 seconds.
The Rock?
Gone in 60 seconds.
Wow,
I thought that was that's definitely far. Definitely far from the best movie ever made, but that was an enjoyable heist movie. So, like, I don't know, is that action-y because they're driving cars real fast?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna read the Wikipedia description of an action movie.
Okay, let's hear it.
Are we ready? Action film is a film genre in which the protagonist is thrust into a series of events that typically involve violence and physical feats. According to this.
Violence and physical feats.
All right, hold on. Let me see what violence
climbing is
really
a physical feat.
Hold on. What'd you say, Micah?
I said rock climbing is a physical feat. Having to physically approach the challenge of climbing a rock wall is a physical feat a protagonist might be thrust in as they fall off a mountain and have to climb their way up.
What movie are you talking about?
Nothing in
27 hours? Oh. I'm trying to help you.
No.
You're just talking about rock climbing. What movie?
I guess if I had to point to a specific one, that is most recently I watched the King's Man, not Kingsman.
I know what you're talking about.
Like the origin story for the yeah. That's an action franchise.
Well, yeah, because he like full on fights Rasputin in that movie. That's action. I know that's action. You can't tell me that's not action.
All those movies are action movies.
But so he has to like. There's the whole scene where he like his parachute doesn't do the whatever, and he's like trying to climb the side of the mountain and shit. And like that's a physical feat he had to do. That's action-y, even though he's not fighting anyone or punching people in the face to do that.
Yeah, but that's not one moment of the whole movie. Like that whole movie is adrenaline rush after adrenaline rush after adrenaline rush. Like that's an action movie. There's constantly things like that in that movie. Also, what did you think of the story of the Kingsman? Is it something?
It was terrible. I did not like that movie.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it's pretty common in action movies.
The Kingsman movie was great. The first Kingsman movie, because it was action comedy. It was funny. It had the guy, you were mismatching this totally not posh British dude who's living in like the city of London versus all these other posh dudes who are like, I'm gonna be a secret assassin, and that was the funniness, there's the juxtaposition and the kind of the whimsy behind there was funny music playing all the time, but it was actiony. That was a good action movie. Do you disagree that that's an action movie?
No, I think it is. I think that whole franchise is action.
So, okay, so that I would say The Kingsman is a really good action movie that I enjoy.
You like the story of The Kingsman?
Yeah, it's funny. It's interesting. It's got some laughs. It's got some. I don't know. I care about Eggsy
Fish
more
out
than
of water joins a secret assassin society and starts murdering people with reckless abandon.
Hell yeah, just like Wanted.
I mean, is it an entertaining story? Sure. Is it a good story? I think that's subjective. I would say that's a little bit more up to, how you feel about it for quote unquote good.
I think what we're learning is that two things can be true at once, basically. Yeah. And
I'd agree.
And genres are stupid, just like just go and watch the movie, man.
I don't think genres are stupid.
All that to say,
just want to move on to the next topic.
The action that took place in Kingsman amplified the other parts of that movie that were enjoyable and funny. The action in the Batman did piss off for anything I cared about,
which we've established, and that makes that makes sense based on what you look for. So I get that.
It might have been good fighting, but it was boring action. It was just a lot of boop, bop, boop, bop. And my favorite exciting moment from the movie was probably when the place flooded and a bunch of snipers came out and started trying to kill people. I don't know.
I mean, that part was kind of cool, I guess.
But even that pales in comparison to even like Heath Ledger smashing a pencil through some dude's forehead to show how crazy he is. I don't know.
And that's just such a small part of the movie.
I mean, I just keep going to it as an example because it's very easy. Like, it sets his character up. It sets up the other bad guys. I don't know. Also, I do want to clarify too. Like, I feel like the way I've been describing this makes it sound like The Dark Knight's like my favorite movie of all time. It's a good movie, but it's just the only one I can point to where I'm like, this is a fucking good action movie to me.
I also find it fascinating because I know you've seen thousands of movies that you just don't have that many action movies to recall from. Like, I figured with all the movies you'd watch, you'd at least have some of them in there just like to watch them for shits and giggles, but it does not seem to be the case.
I could probably pull up my list of movies that I've watched and like sift through and see if I could find a couple. I mean, I'm sure there's action movies I'm not remembering right now that I have enjoyed more than not enjoyed, and I'm sure I've seen a bunch that I've forgotten, but just generally speaking, I don't gravitate towards that type of movie.
I watch a lot because they're good turn your brain off movies.
I would say there's a time and place for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like
there's a time and place for every movie. Like, I'm not about to just leave this podcast to go watch the Skeleton Twins.
Yeah, you fucking should. That movie's awesome.
That movie is sad as shit.
It's awesome as shit. It's so good. It's so real.
That's why Micah likes
It's the duality of man. You can be both depressed and hilarious at the same time. Boom.
What if I want to be none of those things for like 2 hours of my life?
Then you go watch.
Sometimes the world slings you things that you don't want, and you just gotta take. Just like an action movie, you just gotta take the punch and go with the hits, baby. Persevere, seek therapy, better yourself mentally, and physically, and nutritionally. Anyway, everybody, please sign up for my personal motivation masterclass, where I teach you how to be more supportive of yourself.
It's smart that you call it a masterclass and not a seminar, because seminar is a bad connotation. That's a good move on your part.
Good. Yeah,
he learned that.
Fuck seminars. No seminars from this guy.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything else to talk about. So if you guys have other things.
Here, I will read you all of my notes. There's very few of them.
Oh, okay.
I actually didn't take notes this time.
Note number 1. Batman opens with Juggalo initiation, LOL. I thought when they're all those dudes on the subway dressed up with the Juggalo paint on their faces, and then the one dude only has half his face painted, and they're like, "Come on, man, you gotta punch him in the face in order to be one of us. Come on." Man. I was just like, "Is this what they think Juggalos are? Like they just think Juggalos are people who go on subways and beat people up?"
Were they Juggalos? I didn't take it as Juggalos.
Oh, I don't know.
I
don't think they were officially Juggalos. Their faces were painted remarkably similar to how Juggalos. That was my first note. Second note, very melodramatic. Third note, writing feels very angsty, corny, melodramatic. And fourth note, action sequences felt dull and uncaptivating. Those are my notes.
That's Micah's super short show.
Yep. That was my short show.
Micah, Scott brings up a good point. Do you have the budget and the box office for the film?
Yes.
Because I do know that this has been a financial success. It's doing very well.
Yes.
The budget I don't.
One uno momento, por favor.
One moment, please.
Yes.
I just rewatched like the beginning of the train station fight scene, and that shit is fucking metal. I don't know how you can't like that scene. He beats the shit out of that guy, and you hear it all.
All right, so budget for this. Oh, I just lost it.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I must have closed the tab. I have like 27 tabs open, so this isn't really doing me any favors.
The RAM on your computer's got to be just chugging.
There's a RAM on my computer? I didn't think they lived in Indiana. That's so funny.
I love humor.
I don't.
I'm going to guess the budget was 200.
Jared, what's your guess?
200,000, not 200,000. It was a cheap ass movie.
200 million on this movie?
185.
So. Okay, you're pretty close, Sean.
Thank you, Jared.
I mean, you went over, so you lost, but
yeah,
you're pretty close.
Oh, garbage.
Fucking trash.
Fuck out
Price is Right rules. You're fucking kicked to the curb, baby.
Oh my god, is that where they go when they lose?
Yep. Once you lose on The Price is Right, they literally force you out of the building and they set you down on the curb and they prepare you to be curb stomped.
Jesus Christ! Why does everyone go on that show?
It's like the American lottery system.
Okay.
It's a little sniff of money and you might have a good future. Otherwise.
Also, I would just like to clarify to all of our Juggalo listeners, I don't think that the people in that fight scene look like Juggalos. I want to make that very clear.
I think they absolutely look like Juggalos, and I think they were misrepresented because Juggalos are nice people, and people don't understand that. Just because they like the Insane Clown Posse doesn't make them bad people. A lot of them are very average people like you and me who do dishes and play board games and care for their nieces and nephews. They're not people who go on subways and just beat up strangers for the fun of it. Just saying.
Juggalos have a very distinct style of painting their faces, and that was not it. So, to my Juggalo listeners, I am not him.
All right. Fair. So budget 185. So far it has made 764 million. So about 3.5 times its budget so far. Probably will get another 100 million under its belt before the end of its run.
Just a cool hundo.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they've already confirmed the sequel. So
let's go look at The Dark Knight.
Oh, have they?
Mm-hmm. Pattinson.
Well, no, let's go look up Batman Begins.
I remember seeing the headline, and I thought it said Batman sequels a go. Pattinson is not returning. And I was like, oh my god! But it said he was returning, so I kind of was like, that's really strange.
Have they given any kind of indication on what the story is going to be?
No, I have no. I mean, I would assume he's got Matt Reeves is coming back to do this one too.
It's got to be the Joker and the Penguin.
Well, the Penguin's getting his own solo spinoff on HBO too.
Oh yeah, a show or a movie?
I think a show.
Ooh,
So that
I could dig that.
Mm-hmm.
I could get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, this is what they should do. You do a Riddler miniseries. You do a Penguin miniseries. Then you put them all. You already have the context for all these guys. You throw them into the movie with the Batman, who you don't need any more context for. Bada bing, bada boom. That's money, baby.
If you like
HBO, you're welcome to write me a check at any time.
If you like the idea, they probably won't do it. So sorry.
Fuck, you're right.
Also, I would imagine they probably already had a lot of this in mind.
You know
So
what?
It's not like any of this is news.
I would be surprised if they did, because I have really good ideas and they've never heard my ideas before. And they make a lot of bad decisions. Did you see CNN Plus?
Yeah, for the 3 weeks it was out, I did. Yeah.
Exactly. I rest my case.
I feel like we were doing something else right before this, and I don't remember what it was.
Batman Begins had a budget of 150 million.
Mm-hmm.
Made 373 million overall.
Wow, that is very low.
Yeah, but pivot that to The Dark Knight, we got a very different story.
Mm-hmm.
Had the same budget as the Batman. It was 185. Made 1 billion. This also was in 2008 money.
Yeah.
And Batman Begins was 2005. So those were definitely, as far as inflation goes, quite different.
I had no idea Batman Begins did that little.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised that they gave it a sequel with.
I don't think it's that good.
The Batman Begins?
Yeah.
No, I know.
I think it's the worst of the three.
I think it's just thinking. This is hindsight coming into play, but just think like knowing what studios want, where it's like, is this going to make billion? Is this going to make hundreds of million? Like, just. I mean, that was not that much over what they put into the movie, and they're like, give it another one. Like,
well, I mean, it's Nolan.
It is. Well, it's Nolan. It's Batman. Batman's kind of, you could build up.
And also, let's see. This was where's his filmography? I'm trying to figure out where this was in the history of Christian Bale, because this was 2005. So he would have been. Oh, he was coming fresh off The Machinist. Of course, they had confidence in him.
Gosh. And
I mean, 5 years before that was American Psycho. So I think you kind of take your chances and say, Christopher Nolan and fucking Christian Bale will figure it out.
And they did.
I'd agree. I'd say the next two were significantly better than the first one.
Yeah, I would say that.
It's
he also dropped one of the producers for the next two. Larry Franco was not on Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, but the other two people were. So I guess Nolan was like, you suck.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this one goes, especially if they start doing these spin-offs and things like that. So kind of going more of that Marvel-y route of interconnecting and giving some much needed depth that the DC universe needs.
Batman versus Superman, 250 million budget.
Yeah.
That had to have lost money.
Made 873 million.
Really? Batman versus Superman made that much money?
Yep. Anymore, a Batman movie is a printing press. I don't think you can lose money.
Gosh, that movie sucked.
Until somebody bungles it so hard that people are turned off of Batman, I don't think you're going to lose money.
What did the George Clooney one? Because I would say
But see,
no, I know.
I think that's pre-Batman being the way that.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, 1 second.
Call me Whiskers.
Man, even the Justice League made money. Not that much, but it made money. It only made 300 mil.
Don't look up George Clooney. Look up George Clooney.
So the Justice League. Okay, the budget was 3, and then what did it make?
657.
Wow.
Yeah, so it only made 300 mil back.
Jeez.
Or 300 mil plus, I should say.
So what did the first?
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
George Clooney Batman budget 125 million.
Oh my god.
That is pricey.
Yeah, what year? Is that 90?
This was
98.
97.
Fuck.
This was 9 years before Batman Begins, for context.
Okay.
That's kind of weird to think about because there's less time between George Clooney's Batman and Batman Begins than there is between Batman Begins and the Batman right now. And then George Clooney Batman made 238 million, so a little less than 2 times its budget.
Yeah, interesting.
I just now learned. I can't believe I didn't know this. Man of Steel was Christopher Nolan.
He produced it.
Did the story and produced it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that was big in the promo. I remember seeing that. Like,
had no idea.
They were trying to pitch it like, oh look, off the success of Dark Knight, here comes him doing it, but for Batman instead.
Truly, I had no idea.
Also, the very first trailer of Man of Steel uses Lord of the Rings music, which
oh my gosh, here we go.
I won't look it up right now, but I can post it in Discord later. But yeah, I remember watching that and I was like, this is the fucking Breaking of the Fellowship that's playing right now.
Wait, did Hans Zimmer do Lord of the Rings?
No, that was Howard Shore. But they used, I mean,
okay.
It was wild to see. I don't know. I had high hopes for Man of Steel. I need to watch Man of Steel. You know what? I'm not even going to say anything because I need to watch Man of Steel again. That's all I'm going to say.
I honestly, rewatch Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I'll even do a little mini pre-pod before we do our next movie. Like we'll do 20 minutes of Man of Steel because I really like that movie.
D-.
I thought it was great.
I need to watch it again. I don't know. But this is interesting. So Justice League was supposed to be like the Avengers, essentially.
Yep.
Like this is like everyone coming together kind of thing. And that movie only made 300 more. And it was a budget of 250, right? That was what you said, 250? I think
So.
Okay. And the first Avengers movie was a budget of 220, so it's already less. And it made 1.5 billion, which is fucking crazy.
But there's also the fact that
I know
they spent 6 years building up to that.
I think that shows that works. That's important.
I really do think that this could be like DC's Iron Man. I do. I really do think that this movie does a good job of setting stuff up. And I know you don't like the world building of this movie, but I think they are doing a good job of putting certain things in place so that they can bring more elements into it. And if they treat if Matt Reeves becomes like a Kevin Feige, I think that they could use this as a darker comp to the MCU if it's done right.
That would be it's a clean slate of, because obviously there's issues going on with the Flash now and all this. You know, there's just
I think you start brand new.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like they have
how
nobody.
many times does DC have to keep restarting before it's just like?
Oh, I know.
It's DC. They can restart as many times as they want. You know,
that's what I thought the Flash was going to do. Was just going to reset every. I don't know. I don't know what if I knew the solution, then I'd be there making these fucking movies, making dozens of dollars.
Dozens, Sean.
Dozens, dude. Be crazy. But
I mean, like, I think Pattinson could be on for a while. I mean, how old is Robert Pattinson? Is he even in his
33?
30s?
he's got to be
33.
I don't know. I just made that up.
I would guess 30. Yeah, probably maybe 35.
Robert Pattinson is
57.
Oh, man, my internet
shit.
hates me today, as you can tell from me dropping out of nowhere
Yeah, Scott.
earlier.
Scott called you out on it.
He
He's
was
35.
born in 86. Yeah. Hey, I was pretty
35.
close.
Yeah.
And we all know Batman ends up getting pretty old. So he could do this easily for another 20 years and still be Batman and it'd be believable.
Mm-hmm. An old Batman. I mean, yeah. It's
Catwoman doesn't stick around forever. I mean, there's plenty of love interest that he has.
That puts a shitload of pressure on the next movie to be like pretty phenomenal, though. Because if the next one comes out and it's as good as,
was Iron Man 2 phenomenal?
I guess it wasn't at the time. When I go back and watch it, when I'm doing a run through of everything, it's a lot better than I remembered it being.
When you go back and watch Iron Man 2, it was a lot better than you remember it being?
Yeah, I remember not liking it so much when I went back and watched it, but then when I was introducing Kara to watching everything in a big run, we both watched it and we were like, oh, that's actually quite a bit better than we thought it was.
Interesting.
Iron Man 2 sucks.
When's the last time you watched it?
Actually, it wasn't that long ago because I remember it came up on something I was scrolling through and I was like, oh, wow, I haven't seen Iron Man 2 in a while. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, this movie sucks.
Iron Man 2 is very whelming in comparison to the other MCU movies. It is not the worst.
I mean, I agree with that.
But it's not...
I also wouldn't say Iron Man 2 is the reason the Avengers was good.
No, I'm saying it as a point in that I don't think there's as much pressure on the next Batman as you think there is.
It's if they want to keep this tone. I think that's a problem with a lot of them too, is just these tone shifts of like these other
They
movies.
can't decide if they're trying to go dark, if they're trying to go real, if they're trying to go fantastical, if they're trying to go funny. It seems like every movie is them trying to recreate some part of the Marvel magic, but a different one every time, and like not consistently staying tonally the same between the projects. Which isn't a horrible thing, but it just makes it really difficult to build to something.
And so it's not like because they've introduced characters, like they introduce I guess they technically didn't introduce Hulk, but they kind of introduced Hulk in Avengers, and they kind of introduced Hawkeye, and so you could introduce characters into these kinds of films and whatnot, and have it somewhat work. I'm not gonna say it's perfect or anything, but it's just... I mean,
I would argue this movie was an introduction of the Penguin.
Oh yeah, no, I
would consider him like a main villain. He was just like there.
I'm gonna be genuinely sad if they don't do anything else with the Penguin, because he was...
No, I think it's impossible for them not to.
Yeah.
It would be criminally underused for them to do that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff in this movie was criminally underused for sure. Yeah. I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Right, like, Jared?
Right, Jared?
The Batman universe, though, is just wide enough that I think we're going to be seeing it for a while. I think the potential for just fucking Poison Ivy alone, if they wanted to go into all that, would be huge.
That'd be cool.
Mr. Freeze.
I've seen some stuff with Mr. Freeze. That would be cool. Mr. Freeze's story is pretty fascinating. I hope that they do a story with Freeze.
Dude, the Mr. Freeze in the Dark Knight games is so fucking good.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, shit. They could dive into Robin's storyline in Arkham Knight.
We have not done Robin true justice.
No,
we need a good Robin. I don't know who would play Robin right now. Like if you had to cast a Robin,
Tom Holland,
in these tone of movies, even then, I don't think Tom could get dark enough.
No, I would not.
I want to see the Darkest Knight Batman series and or DC series where they're all fucking zombies.
Oh,
I
need them to get the actual movie part down first before they start doing these funny, neat spin-offs.
No. I think they need to do the opposite. They need to start taking their best and craziest comic stories and doing one-offs. I mean, the Joker was a great one-off.
Jared's gonna disagree.
I don't think they do enough one-offs.
Wait, what? I hated the Joker. I think the Joker was dog shit. I hate that movie with a passion. It's not good.
What's your biggest complaint with it?
No. We're not doing that on this. We're not doing that on this. This is about the Batman.
I'm not doing a whole podcast on the Joker, so I'll tell you
can't-
right
we-
now,
we-
that movie is just ass. I don't think the story's good. I do not find
No, we're not even doing.
I mean,
we're
what's
not
his
even doing
name
this. We're not even
compelling?
doing
I
this. We're
mean,
not even
this
doing
this
bad.
comes from a guy who loves Wes Anderson.
No,
How am I supposed to?
No.
buy
We're not doing this on here. This is not the Joker podcast. This is about the Batman.
We're never going to do a
'cause-
podcast of the Joker because it's dog shit.
Because this is going to take forever.
Bad movie. I don't need that. I don't need a whole bunch of time.
Sean, when you're
I don't
editing
think
this, edit this part out.
I don't think it was a great movie, but I liked it. I liked it more than I liked this.
Waste of my time.
So was this movie.
I'd rather watch The Irishman again than watch The Joker.
I've never seen The Irishman, so I can't say
It's
that's
shit.
a valid statement.
It's horrible. It's long shit.
Or should we go to our ratings?
I go back. I feel like I'm like 3.5. I'm gonna say 3.5. Man, I don't know. It's like a close 4 for me though too. I hate. This is where like Jared's system would kill me because I wouldn't know what to do half the time.
You give quite a lot of 3.5.
I do.
And
so-
4s.
I know. I was looking at my letterbox where I really like.
You're pretty pleased with most things you watch.
I really am. Yeah, like your movie's got to be absolute hot fucking poo. Where I'm like, man, I really did not enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anything out of this that I thought was redeemable or enjoyable.
What's the last movie you watched that was like a okay, I'm not into this. This is not for me.
Probably The Irishman.
No, it's not. I like The Irishman more than you probably would have wanted me to.
He is an Irishman after all.
That
Jared.
is true. That is true. That's
But
not-
that movie.
It's
Did
in
you
his
see
blood.
yourself in that movie, Sean?
I think, yeah. You know, they when they de-aged De Niro, I felt it. You know, I was
Yeah. It was awesome, right?
yeah. What did
It sucked.
Yeah, honestly, this is another movie where it's like it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't even know what I think of it now. So, God, I don't know. I thought I just saw one where I gave it 1 star, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Oh, A Long Way Down. I gave that 1.5.
A Long Way Down. Who's in that again?
That is with Pierce Brosnan, Aaron Paul, Imogen Poots, Toni Collette. So the reason I read the book was pretty good. This movie was not that good. It was.
I would literally never watch this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I gave that 1 star. See, I'm seeing there was a point in Letterboxd where I didn't rate stuff and I would just say like, oh, I liked it. And so like I'm seeing random ones where it's just like, oh, that's 1 star. Oh no, I just liked the movie. I didn't give it a rating though. And that's throwing me off. Apparently I gave Bad Words 4. Jared will be happy about that. Some Jason Bateman.
4 out of what?
4 out of 5.
Oh, yeah, I like
Yeah.
Bad Words. I actually meant to rewatch it recently. His directing debut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This
By the way, I'm not done with Ozark yet. I don't know how many episodes I have left. If I had to guess, I think I have like 2 more episodes left. But the final season, oh baby, best show on TV.
Oh man, one of the film guys I followed disagrees a lot. And that's like, you can't have different opinions. It's not allowed. I like The Dark Knight, in case anyone was curious, based on my letterbox. I don't know, but this I'm gonna do. Oh my god, dude, this is gonna be something that changes. But I'm gonna be a generous boy and give it a 4.
4 pause.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, what do you got?
Pass. Movie passes.
I am giving this movie a 2.7 out of 7.
Wow, you're jumping at 2 point. You're getting that precise. I like it.
I was trying to only do whole numbers at first, and then it started getting it was whittling me into too few options. So then I started doing the 0.5s and the zeros, and then I keep looking. I'll keep looking, and I'll be like, well, fuck, this is way worse than that movie, or like, damn, but it was better than that one.
Man, a 2.7 out of 7.
I almost gave it a 3 out of 7, and then when I kept looking at that number, I'm gonna give it a 2.9 out of 7. I changed my answer. It's almost a 3, but it's just not quite there for me.
Okay.
But it's still a failing grade. For me.
That's, you know what? That's,
But it's got that fresh pie aroma on the windowsill where like I could see a world where the future work built on it is a lot better than it.
hold on.
But I don't
It's not
want
there
to
for you
put any eggs in that basket.
now.
No eggs.
Do you think Will Poulter could pull off a Robin?
I mean, yeah, I could see it. I mean, see, the problem with me is when I think of movie Robins and things, I know that there's like the Teen Titans show and stuff like, or not the Teen Titans, the Titans show. But movie wise, Robin, I think of Chris O'Donnell. He played with, when was it the Val Kilmer one? Batman Returns? One of those Batmans. I don't know. But that's the Robin I think of. So, I mean, I could see Will Poulter.
Do you think the mayor's kid is gonna be Robin in the next movie?
The mayor's kid.
Who's now like
the one who's helping, or like
the little boy.
That might be too young to be Robin.
I think that would be a fun little pivot, like because Batman is a bit on the younger side. So what if they just got a Robin legitimately like 13?
Could, I guess technically Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
It also depends on what a Robin they want to do, because isn't like
there's Nightwing.
Isn't like there's a Robin that's like an orphan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a Robin that like comes from the circus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like which one they would go for.
As long as it's interesting, I don't care what they do.
I think they have two different names too, right?
Dick Grayson
I
is
think
one, and
they should make.
I won't know.
Fuck, who is his name?
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake.
Yes.
And Damian Wayne.
Yes.
So his actual kid that he has with Talia becomes Robin at one point.
Skog says the orphan and the circus one are the same Robin.
Orphan and the circus one are the same one, so he's just like he was an orphan that was in the circus. Oh, I always thought that he one of them came from an orphanage like in the city, not he was a orphan that joined the circus.
I think that's how in the the Nolan ones, it's just an orphan who then became a cop, and that was J.G. Levitt.
Yeah. In the Chris O'Donnell one, so like that's the Robin. I think it's a circus one. I think his parents get killed in the circus, so he becomes an orphan, basically.
So Dick Grayson is a part of a family called the Flying Graysons, but then a mob boss kills his family, and Bruce Wayne adopts him.
Okay.
All right, he's his legal ward, I guess. I don't know if that's the same thing as adoption. I don't know enough about adoption to get the
damn it, Jared.
Things right. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
He had one job 10 seconds ago.
I think Jason Todd.
Yeah, Dick Grayson's who I think people think of most when they think of Robin, like the classic Robin. Jason Todd's story is interesting, just from if it's similar to like what the Batman games did. His story was pretty incredible.
Jason Todd was a black-haired street orphan who first encountered Batman when he attempted to steal tires from the Batmobile. Batman saw that he was placed into a school for troubled youths weeks later. Okay. So I guess this is weird. I guess that was actually Dick Grayson, but there was like a multiverse thing that happened that changed his trajectory to be that kind of orphan. So, I mean, yeah, they're the same thing, but they're not. Okay, Skog? Be mean to me.
My gosh. I think, yeah, the Jason Todd one feels pretty dark, and I think would probably fit in this world a little bit better. But, I mean, either way, I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm glad that it got greenlit for a sequel.
Post-crisis, his origin was retconned to be an orphan street delinquent with a troubled past and violent demeanor. Okay. So he was written as a one-to-one replacement for Grayson to allow a bad office to revert Grayson to Robin. Weird. A lot going on there. We got to get a comic book genius on the show.
And I used to.
We already got Sean.
Oh, I'm by no means a genius. I used to have my pull list. I used to go every Wednesday, and I had a whole bunch. I loved
I
it.
remember that.
That was my favorite day. Loved Wednesdays.
That did make you really happy.
Yeah. I need to get back.
And then
into
you'd be like, Jared, I'm no longer playing video games. I'm gonna go downstairs to read my comics and then fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, all right, old man.
All right, you old geezer. Make sure to
Gonna-
take off your
gonna-
reading
gonna
glasses.
Gonna choose some Hubba Bubba while you read it.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. Oh shit, it's coming up here. Up that camera is not refreshing.
Sean, do you have our MPA number?
I sure do. Our MPAA number is 53,230.
That's a lot of movies.
That is a lot of movies.
Did we get a score for Ryan?
Oh, we had to guess what his rating would be. I don't
give a
even
shit.
know.
Off black.
See,
Just like the colors tones of the fight scenes in that movie.
we do this.
Can't quite see it.
We do this every time, and then every time we guess his color, I'm always thinking like, yeah, but like I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Unless it's the very best or the very worst. I have no idea.
Sorry, I just I'm on Letterboxd. Oh man, the reviews for this movie are so funny. I just caught me by surprise. I read a review and it said her name may be Catwoman, but I was barking. And the barking is italicized.
Oh my! But I was bark.
Oh gosh, this is probably of all the movies we've watched, this has probably been the best Letterboxd comment section of all of them. They're so good.
Letterboxd aesthetic pleases me too. It's a very pleasing website to go to. Like when I look at it on my phone, just like their whole aesthetic is just pleasing. All I got.
Committing a crime in Gotham City so I can see Robert Pattinson Batman and ask him what his favorite Mitski album is.
What did I saw there was a reason for Matt Reeves liked the idea of him putting, because I know people are like bringing up the whole black eyeliner and stuff and whatnot, and they were like him doing it because it feels like it's a process of him becoming the Batman and whatnot, and like he wanted that feeling there of like it's not just I think in terms of practicality it's kind of fucking annoying to have like I gotta get to this, but first let me put this on real quick.
And it makes you think too of just like, you know, Christian Bale's Batman had to do the same thing.
Right.
We just never saw it.
Yeah.
So like, can you picture Christian Bale just being like, Alfred, I don't have time for this. I have to go to Japan.
Yeah.
As you said that, the comment that was at the top of my screen was, I just love the idea that when he sees the bat signal, Bruce Wayne has to take a few minutes to apply his eyeliner first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is just I don't know, in the sense of needing to do this in a hurry, it seems fucking silly and kind of like I don't know. But I guess it is in terms of him becoming from Bruce to Batman, like it's part of the whole transformation process. Or I don't know. I guess I'll buy into it. It's fine.
See, I feel like this is where the Arkham Origins Batman would come into play nicely, where it's basically just like that Iron Man type of suit where it's all the metal.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like the gun things on his shoulder back, whatever the fuck. Because then it's just like, he just puts on a suit and doesn't have to worry about makeup or looking this, that way, or the other. It's just like throw on a tech suit and you're ready to go.
I am pretty excited that they used Arkham a lot in this too. I feel like
Arkham. Well, that was something I wanted to see more of too. Was just like they dropped the thing about like, the Waynes and the Arkhams were fundamental to, and I was like, wait, as a person who didn't read the comics, I was like, the Arkhams are a family? I thought that was just and so I immediately was like, oh fuck, like I want to know more about the history of Gotham and
Here we go.
How that shit played.
Yeah. I mean, I'm imagining that they'll dive into that more.
I hope so.
Very bold of them to make the Riddler a Twitch streamer. Matt Reeves really said, but what if Batman never took a bath? Gosh, these are so fucking good. This is my favorite My Chemical Romance video yet. Oh, I love this.
It's good stuff.
I really thought I wasn't going to like the movie. I thought it was gonna be one of those movies that got overhyped. But I think it was the right amount for me.
I think it was overhyped for me.
Bruce is a stronger man than me, and I jumped on the back of her bike and said, "Where are we heading?"
Oh, all right, my guys. You have anything else you want to add before we?
I have one more comment.
Okay.
I have one more comment that I'm going to read, then I'll leave you all alone.
Okay.
It's just Riddler be like, "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to unmask the truth about Gotham City. But before that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, NordVPN. Use the code RiddleMeThis to get 20% off your first month. And don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button."
Oh my god.
That's what I'll leave you with.
Oh my gosh. It's a good note to end on.
Love it.
It's a good note to end on.
Love it.
All right, friends. If you want to follow us on our...
wait.
Okay.
Wait, hold
Okay.
on. I actually lied. Mike, are you going to eat a sardine or what?
Oh, I forgot about the
Do the people want it? Do we got viewers out there who want to watch me eat a sardine? All 7 of you?
If they say no...
All 7 just said yes. I heard them.
I'll be upset if they say no.
All right. Should I do...
So is this the first time you haven't had sardines before?
This is the first time I'm eating a sardine. Should I do the Mediterranean style or just the plain, simple, skinless, boneless in olive oil?
I mean,
My vote's Mediterranean.
I that one just sounds more interesting. Yeah, just a
All right.
a plain.
We'll do Mediterranean.
That'd be like offering me some wheat thins, and it's like, you want some plain wheat thins, or do you want some buffalo chicken, the wheat thins? It's like, why would I?
I'm gonna eat it on a Triscuit because it said you should eat it on bread or crackers.
Yeah.
Ugh, Triscuits are trash.
I agree.
It's just like,
It's just the only cracker we have.
you should get some Cheez-Its.
If you ever see Triscuits in my house, it's a cry for help.
Please help.
Kara's a big Triscuit fan.
Why?
I don't know. She has terrible taste.
Jeez.
That's why she's with me.
Damn, there it is. Jared, you just said you hated Triscuits, and you're gonna disagree with that
All
statement?
right. Review on the can.
Okay.
It's nice and gold.
Yeah, that's cool.
Has a little pop tab on the top.
That's
I
like,
really hope I don't spill like fish juice all over my office.
Yeah, do this carefully. It
It's
looks
really
I'd
unfortunate.
take your time on that one.
it
I'm
looks-
gonna turn some extra lights on over here.
It looks a lot like the Ocarina of Time N64 cartridge, all gold.
Ooh, baby. Oh, there's black olives. Oh, I think I knew there were black olives in here. All right, so we got, I don't know if anybody can see this. Tilt it down a bit.
Yeah. I keep...
Oh, God.
Oh,
I'm going to
still
spill
juice.
all over my laptop.
oh, sweet Jesus.
This is,
All right.
man, this is anxiety inducing.
Here we go. We got,
Oh, God.
there's all the lovely fish. These are olives. Don't worry. There's some herbs de Provence.
Hey,
And
Herb.
there's all the fishies. All right. I guess I should move this camera away from my crotch, huh?
That's
Unless y'all want that more of that show.
that's a different Twitch stream.
All right. Here we go. Let's pick this big old boy. He's got all the skin on him.
Let's pick.
Oh
this
no,
big
these are
old
falling
boy.
apart. Maybe I should go get a fork. Hang on. Pause. I'm gonna go get a fork.
I mean, it must be good because he licked his fingers. Can't be that bad, right?
I guess, yeah. You know what? I'll put some music.
John, you ever had a
on.
sardine?
I have not. I'm not big into like fish food and whatnot in general.
You ever had an anchovy?
No.
Really? You've never done anchovy pizza?
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
I've
I'm
not.
surprised by that.
No. Sure haven't. I'm a pretty simple pizza eater.
After last week, I don't believe you.
I guess, yeah. You know what? That is true. I will give you
Don't
that.
lie to me.
Yeah. That's the most wild I get with my pizza.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fucking wild.
All right. So, again, this is Mediterranean style. Herbs de Provence.
If you send Micah pickles, this is what he will do on stream
I
as
will,
well.
if you send me pickles, if you send me sardines, if you send me whatever your
not-
local favorite delicacy is, I will eat it. All right, we got a good healthy amount on here.
That is, yeah.
It's a whole fish. I even put a black olive on there. I don't like black olives.
Wow.
Oh, why'd you put the black olive on there, man?
I don't mind them. I prefer green olives. Smells like tuna fish.
Love it.
Tastes like tuna fish.
Do you like tuna?
Yeah, I don't eat it plain though. All right, it's not what I expected. I thought it'd be a little more in the realm of like anchovies,
Mm-hmm.
like salty and really umami and kind of like melt in your mouth. It's a little melt in your mouthy, but it has more of a tuna flavor, but doesn't have the tuna texture.
Okay.
I'm gonna have another go because I'm not 100% sure I have a formulated opinion on what
You're just
to
gonna
think about
You're
these.
just gonna eat the whole thing. Like I think I need some more.
I think I just need a whole nother tin of this.
Man, and I'll get back to you guys. I just don't know yet.
Your dads ever pull the old joke where they go out to eat, they fucking destroy their food, and then when the server comes over and asks them how they like it, they say it's terrible. I want to talk to the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's serving number 2. Again, we got pretty healthy dose. I'm really bad at pointing this at the camera.
I think you're pretty good.
It's about a whole fish, skin included. Get another cracker. A little too much fish on that one.
You were nodding your head pretty good there, though. That's a good sign. You know, I think you would not be instinctually doing this if you were disliking it.
Yeah.
That bite was actually pretty good. I could see. If I'm just gonna eat this on crackers, I think I would do a dab of hot sauce or maybe a slice of cheese. I think these would be good in like a pasta. I'm seeing a place. These seem like something you should or would put in something.
Okay.
I don't think you would just eat these standalone.
Eat a tin of sardines.
Right. Or at least I wouldn't, I guess. I'm sure somebody out there eating these by the forkful, but... Alright, so on a fishiness level, it's not too fishy. It's not overpowering.
You like that? You love that, yeah.
It tastes and smells exactly like if you got like a tuna sub at a deli. It tastes and smells exactly like that, but it doesn't have that. It hasn't been reduced to like a pureed tuna. It's still like a whole fish. But I would say a little disappointing in that it wasn't as salty as I thought it would be, like an anchovy is. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 sardines.
Oh, your sardine ratings are different from your movie ratings.
I guess they shouldn't be. That's sacrilege. All right,
Hey, man,
I'm gonna give it.
Do what you want.
No, he needs to stick by his system.
What is 60% of 7? Alexa, what's 7 divided by 6 out of 10?
Just ask it what's 60% of 7. I don't.
Alexa, what's 60% of 7?
Why are you trying to do the math for the robot? That's the whole point of the robot.
Oh my god. All right, it's getting a 4 out of 7 from me.
Chaco says you rated sardines higher than rated the Batman. Oh,
That's
man.
true.
That's funny.
These sardines were really not offensive. It had a couple things I was missing, like some salt and some cheese and some hot sauce, while the Batman had a lot I was missing. So,
oh man,
4 out of 7 for the sardines, 2.9 out of 7 for Batman. Hit me up if you want me to. Yeah.
Oh, he said 2.7.
I changed it. Just shy of 3.
Yeah, he did bump it up to 2.9.
So yeah. Overall, I'd say that was successful. I'm gonna maybe mix this in with some pasta or eat it on a piece of sourdough with some mayo and some hot sauce.
Oh, so you'd make a whole sandwich?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, a sandwich sounds good right now.
I can get down with this. And
right.
it's better for the environment than eating most other fish.
We'll have to wait until next pod to open up that other 10.
Yes,
Check-
next week.
Check out the plain
Actually-
sardines.
No, actually, next week we'll have a second option. I am getting sardines mailed to me.
Oh,
I have a spicy. I think it was spicy Tabasco. I'd have to go look again. Somebody's mailing me spicy Tabasco or spicy something sardines.
you just started this and you already got a guy?
Yeah,
That's connections. That's crazy.
I know, man. I'm telling you, when I hobby, I do it
Let's
until I don't.
Do you know if Ryan is streaming tonight?
I actually don't. I would assume the answer to that is yes. Let me check his stream schedule.
He hasn't updated.
He has not updated it. Classic Ryan.
Yeah. Chat, do we know if Ryan is streaming tonight? Did he say anything yesterday? Because this is, I believe, his week off, so I'm gonna guess that he is.
I mean, if he is, I can stall for another 4 minutes. That's not hard at all.
Chaco says, I thought no stream, but I don't know. So
Also,
He did stream twice yesterday, so
it's true.
and Choco also said that the sardines could use less action and more depression, and I 100% agree. These
I
needed
want
to
my
be more.
food to be depressing.
I kind of do.
How
Want
would
your food to be depressing?
How would your food,
Maybe my sardines.
How would your food be depressing? What does that entail?
Like if I walked, I guess that's a lie. I don't want depressing food. That would be like walking into a fancy breakfast hall and all they have is plain unflavored oatmeal with no toppings. That would be depressing.
I want my
Whereas-
sardines to sing Taking Back Sunday when I open the tin.
Oh hell yeah. I want my sardines to open up and I just hear burnt banana, and then I like have to cap it because it's going too hard.
Yeah, so it's just like a music box kind of thing.
Yeah. I gotta say, I had no expectations. Well, actually, I clearly did have expectations. I was not expecting these to taste like tuna. I was really expecting them to be more like sardines, or like anchovies.
I was expecting them to be more like sardines. I
was expecting them to be exactly like they are. No.
Expect them to be. I wanted this experience to be exactly what I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, y'all have his number. Text him. Oh, Mary, you have no idea what it's like to be a friend of Ryan's.
One does not simply text Ryan.
That's cute. Yeah. Let me just assume that he's gonna look at his phone and answer a text from me. Yeah. That's not gonna waste any of my time. Fucking guy.
Yeah, he's not responding, so I'm gonna assume that's a no. All right. I think
Something in the way. Oh, hell yeah, Choco. I don't. Choco's my man right now, or woman. I don't know, but
or non-binary friend.
Or non-binary. Yeah, sorry. Fuck. I'm real bad at this. I gotta get better.
It's all right.
But all your comments so far, Choco, they're speaking my language.
All right, friends. I think I know where we're gonna raid. So that's what we're gonna do. Because Ryan's not answering me. I'm assuming it's no. But
He's missing out.
He's missing out. He could have watched this. He could have talked to us about it, but he didn't.
He could have.
He's a sack of shit. That's so aggressive. But our socials, if you're listening and whatnot, and you want to follow us on all that good stuff, we're gonna have links down in the descriptions. Make sure to do that. And if you want to help us decide any future films and things we watch, because we'll do polls and all that good stuff. It's all in the Discord, so make sure you follow the Discord.
Which next week is a poll week, because I don't think we have anything scheduled.
Do not.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
No. As soon as Jared watches Everything Everywhere All at Once, that will be a guaranteed podcast when that happens.
Wait, have you both already seen it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm hoping the A24 makes that their next online screening, and I can try and get tickets to that. So I don't have to wait for it.
We had a layover in Boston, and we had nothing to do, so we hopped over, and there was 2 people in the entire theater, so we felt pretty comfortable to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm still not theater ready, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd just hop over and see it tomorrow.
Same. In general, I'm not comfortable, but they had the thing where you could see how many people were already in the theater. With 2 others. We were like, all right, that feels fine.
But I can guarantee that as soon as that happens, that's what we will be talking about. So until then, yeah, make sure you join the Discord, and you can help us pick what we watch, because that's fun, right?
Yeah. And you can help me pick what weird shit I'm eating next.
That's true. That's becoming a new thing here. All right, guys. I don't have anything else. So if you do, say your goodbyes to everyone before I dip us out of here.
That's all I gotta say this week.
That's all
I started this podcast with everything I had on my.
Bye, everyone. To let me know that you were listening, head on to the Discord, go on a movie chat, and tell me your favorite action movie.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm really curious to hear the answer.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, let us know. Get this discussion going. Oh, guess who just finished watching The Batman?
Wait, Ryan?
Yeah. That mother.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I was like, you're not streaming tonight, are you? He said, no. I did just finish watching The Batman with Allie, so I'll be excited to hear what you guys said on the podcast. Well, I guarantee you he's not going to fucking like the ending of this podcast.
Oh, you should ask him his rating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's your rating?
Give us a color.
Give us a color. Or hop in chat. Let me see if he hops in here. We'll stall for a little bit here and see. I'm sure he can pop in real quick.
Sean, what's your favorite roast of coffee?
Son of a bitch, man. Medium probably. I'm not a big coffee person. I'm not like I need creamer.
Don't you drink coffee every morning?
I do, but it's not like I don't like.
Oh, you're not like a coffee connoisseur,
right? Yeah,
like you just need a cup of mud to wake you up.
I think it's more of just like a routine thing at this point. I like the warm beverage in the morning, and it's just a comfort, cozy thing. Ryan said olive green. I hated it. Wow.
Ooh.
Whoa, he hated it?
Interesting. I mean,
I'm writing this puppy down in my spreadsheet.
Yeah. Now, granted, I take everything Ryan likes and dislikes with just these grains.
Yeah,
of
no,
salt they're absurd.
Yeah,
but
I gotta say, I'm on Ryan's side.
I mean,
I would not have expected a hate.
Yeah, based on what he wants out of movies, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it makes it. I think he's probably gonna. I think his comments would be in line with Micah's.
I would agree. I think it's not.
There's not enough explanation for him.
That's also. If we dive back into the last discussion we had with him, we slowly realized he and I look roughly the same thing. And so this tracks so far.
Yeah. It's
He loved the Joker though.
I did too. I mean, I didn't think it I didn't hate it, and I wouldn't say it was my favorite movie either, but I definitely say it was a pass for me.
Yeah.
So
wow. All right.
That's
Well,
interesting.
we'll have to fill you all in on why he hated it. And it's that'll be a fun conversation for us.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be I also just don't care what he thinks about it either, too.
Oh, okay, all right, never mind. We will not report back to you what he thinks about it because Sean doesn't care, and if Sean doesn't care, you know what? I don't care, honestly.
Is that how that works? Well, that's how that works.
Yep. Yeah, we're attached to the hip now. I don't know if you know that.
What's that movie with Matt Damon? Stuck on You.
Yeah. Who's the?
What a throwback.
That Greg Kinnear? Is that who was?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why?
You guys are stuck on youing each other.
That's God. And then I came up with Gone in 60 Seconds. Like you said, Nick Cage, and I knew it was Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know where that came from.
Speaking of Nick Cage, sorry not to derail this podcast for the 29th time. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. We also saw that while I was on vacation.
Oh, you saw that? Was it good?
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah,
I've been hearing really good things.
I'll hold back.
I've heard really good things too. Yeah,
I won't give a review, but I really liked it. I would say it's worth a watch.
I think that's another one that once all three of us have collectively seen it, we'll pop on here and talk about.
Yeah,
I would say it's a good one.
Definitely.
It's a pretty good time for movies right now.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
It's a great time for TV shows right now too.
TV right now is fantastic.
Yeah, we've been in that golden age of TV for quite a bit. Feels like.
Yeah.
Scott, Pacific Rim is an action movie.
Yes,
So
I would
that
say.
counts.
I would say Pacific Rim is an action movie. Maybe that'll.
First
be
one's pretty good. Second one was kind of meh.
Yeah,
I've never seen either.
Not surprised.
Guillermo.
I've been to the Pacific.
Have you been to the Pacific Rim though?
I don't think so, because that's like in the middle of the ocean, isn't it?
I mean, really, it's in the middle of our hearts.
Well, I've definitely been in the middle of my heart because my heart is me.
My heart is me, Micah, 2022.
That's our.
It's true. I did say that this year.
It's another shirt idea.
Our
Remember all
next
those?
shirt.
That actually would be a pretty funny shirt. My heart is me.
Doesn't even. I guess it's
technically true. We gotta open up a merch shop, and every week our best quotes get thrown into the merch shop, so that nobody can buy them.
It's gonna be there's you can look through all 600 of our shirts. Good luck. All right, I'm wrapping this up. We've surpassed the length of the movie that we've reviewed tonight. So.
We did it. That was my one goal.
We did it.
We did do it. 45 minutes of it was just bullshit.
Sardine talk.
It's fine. That's how
I said that's what we were gonna do, and we did it. So that's all that matters.
Perfect. If you have listened to us this entire time, appreciate you. 3 hours and 7 minutes. Yeah, my God. Appreciate you all for being here. Look forward to doing this every week. So thank you. And if you're listening,
thank you for giving us a reason to sit here and bullshit and talk about movies. It's probably one of the more fun parts of my week, if not all of our weeks.
Yeah, I look forward to it. All right,
We'll
friends.
throw the poll up in the pod shortly.
We will. Make sure, if you want to be a part of that, join the Discord. Links are going to be all in the description and all that good stuff. So, all right, friends. Farewell. I'll send us somewhere if you're watching. So stick around, and we'll see you all later. Bye, 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 bye.